Lee, we'll just start off with the weekend just gone. Job done there and into the semi-final of the County Cup. Must be a pleasing end to the year.
Yeah, it was. It was a good end of the year. I think the performance was where we wanted it to be. I think in some of these games where you're playing against an opposition, lower leagues, the most respectful thing you can do is just go out there and play your football and push forward. And individually and collectively, we scored some really good goals on the day. And fair play to Knoll. They were a really competitive side as far as they went out there. They were working hard, and I think ultimately they hopefully come away from the game taking bits away, because we did. And sometimes when you look at games that end up in scorelines like that, I think the worry is that people think that either team can't take much from it. But hopefully they felt they did, and we certainly did from a point of view of how we want our attacking play to go, and lots of opportunities. I think we've got 10 different goal scorers on the day, so it shows that it was coming from all areas, and hopefully will service us and help us going forward.
And just a general review of the year so far, you must be delighted with how it's gone, not to mention finishing last season with a County Cup victory, but also the start we've made to this season, the squad building and the work off the pitch as well.
Yeah, I think the season was all about getting going as quick as we can into it. We obviously knew moving into the Northern Division, it was a new division, new teams, new opposition. We had to get used to that quickly after doing a lot of work last season, a lot of good work in the Southern League, and I mean that in the sense of getting to know the teams. We kind of had to restart with all of that again, bringing in more players than probably we thought we may do, but that was because really good players come available. We ended up with a nice sized squad, and yeah, the players have worked really hard to adapt and gel together, and we've seen that over the course of the first half of the year. Individually and collectively, they've got into a really good place, and there's a few that have still had to overcome knocks and niggles, and when they've done that, they've come back. Lucy Wood, for example, this weekend, coming back after a while and getting a good hat-trick and a great performance. So there's still room for the group to improve and grow, but ultimately it was about trying to hit the ground running and trying to put ourselves in the best possible position we could do. And we're in a better position now than what we were this time last year, and that's what our first aim was.
Just to touch on the squad, you mentioned they bringing players, more players than you perhaps wanted to initially, but you're really building a good environment here with good people.
Yeah, and that's huge on your recruitment. I think every coach will sort of sit there and tell you about recruiting the right people is more so important than just being a good player. We house players here. We bring players together, so they spend a lot of time with us and with the players and the staff all in together. So the quality of person has been really, really important, and we've made sure that our environment over the last couple of years has just been getting better and better. We have to challenge ourselves all the time with that, and the group have gelled together nicely. It's been a big squad, but it's also been a healthy competition, and competing on lots of different competitions definitely helps that.
I was going to say, it's a tough decision sometimes for yourself, but it's probably what you want.
Yeah, and we want to get to that point where it is tough, and I'm definitely looking at the bench at times, knowing that there's quality on there, but also quality to come onto the pitch as well. Sometimes I think some of the hardest things recently has been we've gone from having 7 subs on the bench in the league games, to then 5 in the County Cup, to then 9 in the FA Cup, or 7 in the FA Cup, and only allowed to use 5 over 3. So the different rules have kind of thrown that off a little bit, and that's probably been some of the hardest things, because I've not been able to have a settled squad of just knowing I'm picking 18 players going to a game. But we've used our development side well. I think arguably nearly 10 players from the first team played for the dev side at some point this year to keep themselves ticking over or recovering from minutes, and we want to make sure that's a whole club sort of feel as well, because we've got some good young players that benefit from seeing the girls come and help them.
And just on the pitch as well, we're fighting in 3 competitions, and we've got ourselves in a good place going into the new year.
Yeah, it's 3. We've obviously had a really good run in the FA Cup, which is hopefully going to continue. We got the draw away against London Bees, which will be an exciting game and an opportunity for the club to continue going further than we ever have done as Rugby Borough. So the FA Cup is a great history, and we know that obviously the financial rewards for an individual club is huge, for an independent club, sorry. So from us, that's a competition we want to keep progressing in. The County Cup we obviously won last season, so we want to keep that trophy. We want to keep going, and be an interesting when we get the semi-final draw for that. And yeah, ultimately it's about the league and being in the top areas of the division was really, really important. And we haven't played as many teams in and around us that we will do in the second half of the season, so there's still loads of points to play for. Say we're close enough to it, but we've got to be slightly better, or be better in those games against the teams in and around us. We've probably had our best and worst performance in those games, so we need to make sure we go and find a way of winning those really tight games. That was a little bit of an Achilles heel of us last season. We did it well against the likes of Oxford and Ipswich, but when we played against Portsmouth and Hashtag, we didn't quite get over the line. So we want to change the narrative of that, want to change that story.
And yeah, no doubt about it, the games we need to go and win. I'm sure you have full belief in the squad.
Yeah, individually, there's some real good quality, and we are getting better as a team all the time. So we reflect on what's gone well and what hasn't gone well, and we go into a different run of fixtures. We've had since we lost against Wolves, we've had 7 games across the 3 competitions. I think we scored 50 goals, conceded 1, so we had 6 clean sheets. And yeah, we've bounced that really well, and I can't ask no more from the players from what they've done. But there's going to be different types of games coming into next season, so that's going to be, well, not the next season, next half of the season, sorry. So I think that for us, we need to be prepared for it looking a little bit different after Christmas.